Hello again. Welcome, dear traders, to the new week 17 to 21st of March 2025. As always, I'm Atomashi Daniel, Best Traders Global Market Analyst. Wherever it is you're joining us from, Mambo, Karibu, whichever one you like, Saubona, Ecuador, welcome. So we're going to be looking at some pairs this week, and as always, we'll be starting with the fundamental analysis. What do we have for the fundamental analysis? Um, Two main pairs this week that expect to have some key events are the Euro USD and the GBP USD. Now, today we expect the core retail sales data for Monday, today, 17th of March, and on Wednesday, the US federal funds rate. This is going to be important because we've had decreased PPI, producer price index, and consumer price index data for the month of February, okay, decreased compared to January. And if you look at the measures Donald Trump has put in place, the tariff wars with Canada and the trade wars that he intends to enact, everything's been doing in January since he came in, that has kind of pushed prices up. The decreased inflation data we got from the CPI and PPI data from last week is a good indication that what the US Federal Reserve Bank is doing is actually working. The interest rate cuts that we had in the past last year, okay, actually doing quite well now and influencing the economy the way they expect it to. So, all eyes on the Fed this week on Wednesday to see if they are gonna uh, cut further, considering what Trump has done, putting Trump effect into consideration, okay, or they're just gonna leave it as it is. Analysts expect that we expecting that Trump, the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank, is not going to cut interest rates and it's just going to leave it as it is for now. We're not pricing in any interest rate cut for Wednesday. That's for the U.S. Now the climate can't change, just like the unemployment claims in the U.S. In the U.K., it's a number of people who come out to claim the unemployment benefits. Okay, we expect that data on Thursday, 20th of March, and also on Thursday. Another major event is the UK's official bank rate. Okay, just it's like the interest rate and also the monetary policy statement, similar to the US press conference or press statement, whatever you want to call it. But it's the same thing. And as always, okay, true for the UK, we expect that the policy rate is going to stay the same. We do not expect the Bank of England to cut rates or increase at this point in time. So that's for the Euro USD and the GBP USD. Okay, let's look at the charts and see what the charts are telling us right here. What do we have? What goodies are cooking in for us? Okay, this is USD SEK, but we're going to come back to this much later. First, we'll start with the Euro USD. What do we have? Now, um, first on the weekly chart, we see that price is trying to find its footing very strongly above the 200-day moving average. Okay, it went a few pips. It was a few pips shy, about 50, 60 pips shy of parity level, 1.1 rather 1.100 psychological level. Okay, and right now it's currently trying to find its footing above the 200-day moving average, and there's a good chance it could hit 1.100 psychological level. This is the weekly chart. For the daily chart, what do we see? Also price, if you follow the rectangle right there, the thin rectangle, okay, so highlight that a bit. Okay, price is also strongly above the 200-day moving average. Okay, moving very nicely. Now, the bullish outlook, yeah, of course, this also indicates that the bullish outlook is still quite strong. Okay, on the 4-hour chart, however, we see some negative divergence on the RSI, indicating that a possible brief bearish pullback is imminent or a bearish pullback is possible. And that makes some sort of sense because if you check properly, you see that price has been bullish for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 1 week straight. Okay, maybe it's looking for some respite going down. Okay, maybe it's looking for some respite. So RSI negative divergence on the 4-hour chart indicates that um, there could be a bearish pullback on this particular pair. All right. However, on the 1-hour chart right now, um, last week we drew this channel, the ascending channel, and price broke below it. Okay, broke past key support level of 1870, and we were able to capture one take profit. Okay, right now it's still looking bullish and looking as if it wants to test the channel. Okay, so our key resistance level on the Euro USD here will be 1.09110. If it breaks above this high, 1.0911, we could see price touch 1.0945, or 0.0950, thereby touching the support border of the channel. And if it goes beyond that, it could touch 1.0984 and possibly above that, the psychological level of 1.100. Okay, and if price happen to go beyond that, of course, 1.1036, and above that, we could see it touch 1.1050. I'm generally bullish on this guy. My favor bullish positions unless of course it breaks key support levels. Okay. Now on the other hand, on the flip side, if price still comes back down to break 80870 once again, we could see price touch 1.0850, below that 0817, and if it goes below that 1.0785, and beyond that 0756. Okay, I wouldn't expect it to go. I don't expect it to go so strongly bearish. But again, this is trading. You cannot predict 100% what will happen in the market. But if it happens to go below 0756, then you should look at possibly 0724 or psychological level of 0700. Is the FOMC weak? Monetary policy statement of four major economies this week. Don't rule anything out. Plus, if you put the Trump effect into consideration, it is very highly possible. However, the bullish outlook on this guy is very strong. Hence, I'm bullish unless I see a break of key support levels. I'm open to trading bullish and bearish positions back to back. Okay, on this guy. Now, that's for the Euro USD. For the GBP USD, what do we have? Let's see. Simply put, this guy has been very beautiful. Of course, as always, just like the Euro USD, if I zoom in there, you see that it's currently trading strongly above the 200-day moving average. That's the red line right there. And if you see that the rectangle, the thin rectangle, okay, and on the weekly charts, it's not so pronounced, but you can still spot an ascending channel. Okay. Putting this into consideration is like price just broke past it a bit only to return into it. So right now we're in the channel. Okay. And the bullish outlook is looking quite strong. On the daily chart, it's the same thing, trading very strongly above the 200-day moving average right there. Okay. Um, for me, I want to look at the lower time frames to spot possible entry positions. There you go. Trading strongly above the 200 moving average, indicating that the bullish outlook is still very much strong. Okay. On the 4-hour chart, what do we see? We see RSI negative divergence right there. Okay. If you follow the pink lines, this pink line connecting the lows and the RSI here, indicating that there could be a brief bearish correction on price. But in the general sense of things, if you look at the bigger picture, it looks like price has been moving nicely along an ascending channel. Okay, just like what we saw on the daily chart, on the weekly chart. On the 4-hour chart is the same. Price is currently playing around the resistance border of that channel. You can see that, okay, the upper border right there is currently playing around it and has formed consolidation patterns, looking as though it wants to test higher levels. Okay. So it's there on the resistance border right now. The resistance border is acting as support. Okay, if I zoom in on that, you see it's acting very nicely as support right there, and it seems to be holding. On the 1-hour chart, okay, what I want to see is a break of 1.2945. If it does, if price breaks that strongly, and a break of the a break of 1.2945 price level, and a break of the trend line, the red trend line right there, which has happened already. So I'm looking at take profit levels 2960. If it goes beyond that 2973 and above that 1.2987, okay, and it's possible it could hit the psychological level of 1.300. Very, very likely right here, considering the patterns it has formed. Okay, so be on the lookout for this. On the flip side, okay, on the flip side, if price breaks 1.2913 strongly, then the RSI negative divergence could come into play. And it could touch levels 1.2897, 2880, 2866, or 2851. These are tight levels for possible intraday and scalping targets. You want to put that into consideration. And then below that, price could touch 1.2824. And if it goes below that, we could see it go back to psychological level of 2800, 1.2800 right there. So that's for the Euro USD and the GBP USD. Now let's look at the USD Swiss, okay, and the USD CAD. Beautiful pairs right here. What do we have for the week for fundamentals? Now, we know that McCartney won the election in Canada on Friday, okay? And in his manifesto and the campaigns, the focus economically for this guy has been on, or rather, his focus we expect to will be on reduced government spending and increased economic output. It's not so much so focused on controlling inflation, okay, based on what he said and his people have said over the course of over the past months. Is rather focused on increased economic output and reduced government spending. That makes sense considering that Canada has experienced a few contractions, economic contractions, okay, GDP wise, couple of months in 2024. Okay. So if it happens and it put measures or fiscal policies in place for Canada, expect a great boost for the Canadian dollar. Now, another thing to note is that Switzerland's inflation level fell to the lowest in almost 4 years. That's great so far for Switzerland, considering the global inflation rate that the world has been tackling in recent times. Now, also, some key events for the week, calendar news, US core retail sales Monday, 17th of March 2025. Today, Canada's CPI data expected on Tuesday. Pay attention to that. Considering the tariff wars between Canada and the US recently, the trade wars, the Trump tariffs, okay, you want to pay attention to that. US federal funds rate, if the CPI data is, if inflation levels increase, not good for Canada. If they drop, of course, definitely good for Canada. So pay attention. Now, US federal funds rate again, the FOMC press statement will affect the USD CHF and USD CAD. As always, like I said earlier, we do not expect a rate cut from the US. Okay, we expect the Federal Reserve Bank to keep the the interest rate as it is. But then again, you can never predict 100% what these guys are going to do. Our money, however, is on leaving it as it is, especially since there have been previous rate cuts in the past, last year. All right. And last week, we had great CPI data, decreased consumer price inflation, and producer price inflation. In fact, PPI was at deflation levels. Not, it didn't just change, it actually reduced. And that's good for the US economy, okay, and good for the Fed's target. So, following the fact that Donald Trump put some things in place in January and started trade wars and started slamming tariffs all across board, that's good data for the US. So we do not expect the Fed to cut interest rates further. It looks like their measures are working. Okay. And next is the Switzerland's policy rate and monetary policy assessment. All right. Same thing like the interest rate, same data. We do not we expect a 25 basis point cut actually from the Swiss National Bank. Okay, 25 basis point cut. Look out for that. If it happens, that's going to be a boost for the USD CHF. It could break past support levels. And also the Bank of Canada's governor is expected to speak on Thursday, 20th of March. And finally, for the week, for this pair, we expect Canada's retail sales data on Friday, 21st of March. That's that for the fundamental analysis. Let's go over to the charts, the beautiful charts. The beautiful charts. What do we have? As always. Okay. USD CHF. We're going to start with that. Yes. We've enjoyed good profits on this guy. We know that on the weekly charts, if you see, it touched support levels. We've talked about this guy on the Telegram channel in our live sessions back to back, and we've predicted the drop. We traded the drop. Many take profits. Okay, hit support levels. Okay, of 2022. All right. Resistance levels of 2022 broke the trend line. Now it's playing around the 100-day moving average. Okay. You see that it broke below it and seems to going back. It went back to retest it by this bullish candle right here. And then the pink horizontal line, there seems to be an order block level, significant for June 2024 and April 2023. Price is currently at that level and is struggling to break below it. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to this level 0.8820. Okay, key support level. On the daily chart, of course, after trading the double top pattern 3 weeks ago and trading all our take profit levels, okay, our levels are actually still there. You can see them, the pink support levels right there. Okay, pink horizontal lines. We trade up until the 200-day moving average and the 50% mark of the Fibonacci. Price is currently at the 200-day moving average. It's formed consolidation and it's looking as if it wants to continue its bearish move. All right. It has reacted strongly to the 200-day moving average. The key question now will be, is the 200-day moving average going to cause a major pullback, bullish pullback, or it's going to continue? Is the consolidation done? Okay. If you look at all these bullish candles right here, one, two, three, four, five, all of them are still within the range of this bearish guy, this bearish candle right here, indicating that the bearish power, the bears are still very much in the market. Now, um, more specifically, the consolidation is characterized by an ascending channel on the 1 hour chart. Okay, price seems to have broken past the support border, a signal for a sell, and broken past the 200-day moving average on the 1 hour chart. All right, for me, entry levels will be a break of 0.8827 key level, which it has already. Then our target 8816 on scalping or intraday position. Below that, we could see price touch 88 psychological level of 0.8800. But if you want to be conservative, you could put it right here at 8804. Okay. My money is on 8800. Below that, price could touch 0.8786. And if it goes below that, 8766. Of course, below that, price could touch 8757. And by so doing, it would break strongly below. It will go back down below the 200-day moving average. Okay. It will go back below the 200-day moving average, the red line right there. If it does that, then I guarantee you the bearish outlook is going to be very, very, very strong. We're going to have strong bearish moves. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. On the flip side, however, if price goes back into the channel and breaks above key resistance level 0.8852, okay, price, we could see price touch 8861 on scalping or intraday moves, and above that, price could touch 8872. If it goes beyond that, we could see price target 8893 or play around the psychological level of 0.8900, and above that 8920. The bearish outlook is still strong on this guy, so I am bearish, okay, unless I see a break of key resistance levels. Now, the USD the beautiful, beautiful guy. What do we see? First, we see RSI negative divergence, indicating that the bearish outlook, there could be a bearish move on this guy. And this guy has been very interesting in the sense that we see that it's been moving within a range. Okay. And what's that range? Let's try to get that range for you. Uh, Good. So the range is between 1.4454 and 1.4269. Some will say maybe 4317, 4320. Okay. Yes. 1.4320 and 1.4450. Okay. Price looked as though it was going strongly bearish, brushed off the 50% mark of the Fibonacci, okay, did not touch the 100-day moving average, went back up into the range again. It just likes this range, the range between 1.4450 and 1.4320. It went back up again, went back to retest 4450, 4466, okay, and then eventually came back down again. And it's looking as if he wants to test the support level of 4320 once again. Okay, it's looking strongly bearish as though he wants to retest 4320. Okay, yet again, attack that level. So for me, all right, I'm looking at key support level of 4353. If price breaks past key support level of 4353, because if you see here, it forms the head and shoulders pattern, head, left shoulder, right shoulder, okay, and after forming the head and shoulder pattern still from the 1, 2, 3 reversal pattern again, lower highs, okay, indicating that the bearish outlook is still quite strong, okay. And if you see the pattern right here, strong resistance pattern, okay, break of 4353 could see price touch 1.4343, and below that price could go as low as 1.4320. Below that we could see price touch psychological level of 4300, and below that 4277, okay. On the flip side, however, if price heads back up, okay, above psychological level of 1.4400, we could see price play around 1.4420 before it goes back up to key resistance level again of 4450. And if it goes beyond that, 1.4494, and above that 1.4530. I'm bearish, yes, on this guy, unless I see a break of key resistance levels. And it's important to note that um, again, I did mention that McCartney won the election, Swiss inflation fell to lowest, and Canada's GDP data for um, last month was quite good. Okay, the economic sentiment in Canada is quite good right now on McCartney winning the election. Okay, so we could see some nice moves on on Canada's on Canadian dollar. All right, expect strong bearish moves unless key resistance levels are broken. All right, that's that for the weekly market analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. As always, I'm Atomashi Dana, Vestras Global Market Analyst. I'll see you again next week. Bye bye.